1 Nephi chapter 4. So far the 4 sons of Lehi have done everything in their power to accomplish their mission, and still have failed. There seems to be a lesson here for all of us. In many things and responsibilities, we succeed on the first try. The Lord encourages us to use our mind to solve problems, and tells us that it is not necessary for Him to command us in all things, and that the power is in us to solve many situations. However, it seems that we need to be reminded of our complete dependence upon the Lord from time to time. For instance, this is absolutely the case with respect to our dependence on the atonement. When we need to revisit this lesson, it seems that nothing we try succeeds. Then the Lord steps in and shows forth His power, and we succeed in His way. Verse 1. And it came to pass that I spake unto my brethren, saying, Let us go up again unto Jerusalem, and let us be faithful in keeping the commandments of the Lord. For behold, He is mightier than all the earth. Then why not mightier than Laban and his 50? Yea, or even than his tens of thousands? In other words, even if Laban had tens of thousands of soldiers, the Lord could still overcome them and bless us with success in obtaining the plates. Verse 2. Therefore let us go up. Let us be strong like unto Moses. For he truly spake unto the waters of the Red Sea, and they divided hither and thither. And our fathers came through out of captivity on dry ground, and the armies of Pharaoh did follow and were drowned in the waters of the Red Sea. It seems that many people who read the Bible, along with most Bible scholars today, do not believe that Moses and the children of Israel literally had the Red Sea part for them, and that they went through on dry ground, with the armies of Pharaoh drowning as they pursued them. In fact, some scholars say that it was the Reed Sea, and not the Red Sea, which Moses and his people crossed, that the water was very shallow, and that the hot desert wind just happened to push it back for the Israelites. So, in this verse we see the Book of Mormon supporting and verifying the Bible. The Israelites did experience the miracle of the parting of the Red Sea, and they really did go through on dry ground, which is a major miracle in and of itself. So the prophecy of Ezekiel, in Ezekiel chapter 36, verses 15 to 17, is being fulfilled before our eyes. The Bible and the Book of Mormon, the stick of Judah and the stick of Ephraim, have become one in thine hand. Verse 3. Now behold, ye know that this is true, and ye also know that an angel hath spoken unto you. How can ye doubt? Let us go up. The Lord is able to deliver us, even as our fathers, and to destroy Laban, even as the Egyptians. Now when I had spoken these words, they were yet angry, and did still continue to murmur. Nevertheless they did follow me up until we came outside of the walls of Jerusalem. And it was by night, and I caused that they should hide themselves outside of the walls. And after they had hid themselves, I, Nephi, crept into the city and went forth towards the house of Laban. As mentioned previously, Nephi is about to encounter a very severe test of faith. He will pass the test, but not before he's been through an internal struggle of deepest proportions. There's a lesson in this for each of us. Sometimes, as we strive to faithfully live the gospel and to carry out our callings and responsibilities at home and in the church, we encounter obstacles which we most certainly did not expect, especially in the light of the Lord's promises to the faithful. At such times, Nephi's experience in the next verses can be most helpful and reassuring. Verse 6. And I was led by the Spirit, not knowing beforehand the things which I should do. Nevertheless I went forth, and as I came near unto the house of Laban, I beheld a man, and he had fallen to the earth before me, for he was drunken with wine. And when I came to him, I found that it was Laban. And I beheld his sword, and I drew it forth from the sheath thereof. And the hilt thereof was of pure gold, and the workmanship thereof was exceedingly fine. And I saw that the blade thereof was of the most precious steel. Just a thought. We know that Nephi was still a young man when he encountered Laban. So we can't help but note his admiring, detailed description of Laban's fine sword in verse 9. It's what we would expect from a typical young man. Next, we'll see and feel the struggle in Nephi's mind and his heart as he seeks to sort out the teachings of his youth about not killing people his commitment to follow God, and the commandment to kill Laban. It is a profoundly deep struggle, and we can learn much from it. Verse 10. And it came to pass that I was constrained, or compelled, or obligated, by the Spirit, that I should kill Laban. But I said in my heart, Never at any time have I shed the blood of man. And I held back, and wished that I might not slay him. And the Spirit said unto me again, Behold, the Lord hath delivered him into thy hands. Yea, and I also knew that he had sought to take away mine own life. Yea, and he would not hearken unto, or listen to, the commandments of the Lord. And he also had taken away our property. And it came to pass that the Spirit said unto me again, Slay him, for the Lord hath delivered him into thy hands. Behold, the Lord slayeth the wicked, to bring forth his righteous purposes. It is better that one man should perish, than that a nation should dwindle and perish in unbelief. So now Nephi's intense internal struggle continues in verse 14. And now when I, Nephi, had heard these words, I remembered the words of the Lord which he spake unto me in the wilderness, saying that, Inasmuch as thy seed, or posterity, shall keep my commandments, they shall prosper in the land of promise, which is literally the Americas, or symbolically it's heaven. Verse 15. Yea, and I also thought that they could not keep the commandments of the Lord according to the law of Moses, unless they should have the law, or the scriptures. And I also knew that the law was engraven upon the plates of brass. And again I knew that the Lord had delivered Laban into my hands for this cause, that I might obtain the records according to his commandments. Therefore I did obey the voice of the Spirit, and took Laban by the hair of the head, and I smote off his head with his own sword. As mentioned previously, this was a most difficult choice for Nephi. It seems that Nephi has always been quick to obey, yet in this instance, it takes 9 verses for him to obey, which signifies his struggle within his soul. However, having passed this extreme test, he'll now be able to quickly obey the Lord when it comes to future difficult assignments. For instance, when he's later asked to build a ship, a rather startling assignment for one without any shipbuilding experience, he simply asks, Whither shall I go that I may find ore to molten, that I may make tools to construct the ship? Verse 19. And after I had smitten off his head with his own sword, I took the garments of Laban, Laban's clothes, and put them upon mine own body, yea, even every bit, and I did gird on his armor about my loins. I put his armor on. And after I had done this, I went forth unto the treasury of Laban. And as I went forth towards the treasury of Laban, behold, I saw the servant of Laban, who had the keys of the treasury. And I commanded him in the voice of Laban, that he should go with me into the treasury. And he supposed me to be his master, Laban, for he saw the garments, he saw Laban's clothes, and also the sword girded about my loins. And he spake unto me concerning the elders, the religious leaders, of the Jews, he knowing that his master Laban had been out by night among them. And I spake unto him as if it had been Laban. And I also spake unto him that I should carry the engravings, which were upon the plates of brass, to my elder brethren, who were outside the city walls. And I also requested him that he should follow me. And he, supposing that I spake of the brethren of the church, and that I was truly Laban whom I had slain, therefore he did follow me. And he spake unto me many times concerning the elders of the Jews, as I went forth unto my brethren, who were outside of the walls. And it came to pass, that when Laman saw me, he was exceedingly frightened, and also Lemuel and Sam. And they fled from before my presence, for they supposed it was Laban, and that he had slain me, and had sought to take away their lives also. And it came to pass, that I called after them, and they did hear me, wherefore they did cease to flee from my presence. Imagine how surprised and startled Laban's servant Zoram must have been when Nephi spoke in his own voice, and his brothers actually stopped. Verse 30. And it came to pass that when the servant of Laban saw my brethren, he began to tremble, and was about to flee from before me, and return to the city of Jerusalem. And now I, Nephi, being a man at large in stature, and also having received much strength of the Lord, Therefore I did seize upon the servant of Laban, and held him, that he should not flee. Nephi is certainly humble about his size and strength, and he sets a good example by giving the Lord credit for his ability to restrain Zoram. Next, we'll see again the use of the strongest possible oath in Jewish culture, as Nephi talks to Zoram, and Zoram responds. Verse 32. And it came to pass that I spake with him, that if he would hearken unto my words, as the Lord liveth, and as I live, even so, that if he would hearken unto our words, we would spare his life. And I spake unto him, even with an oath, that he need not fear, that he should be a free man like unto us, if he would go down into the wilderness with us. And I also spake unto him, saying, Surely the Lord hath commanded us to do this thing, and shall we not be diligent in keeping the commandments of the Lord? Therefore, if thou wilt go down into the wilderness to my father, thou shalt have place with us. Next, we see the confidence which Nephi's oath gives Zoram. Zoram's oath in return frees Nephi of any concerns about him. Verse 35. And it came to pass that Zoram did take courage at the words which I spake. Now Zoram was the name of that servant, and he promised that he would go down into the wilderness unto our father. Yea, and he also made an oath unto us, that he would remain with us from that time forth. Now we were desirous that he should tarry with us for this cause, that the Jews might not know concerning our flight into the wilderness, that they should pursue us and destroy us. And it came to pass, that when Zoram had made an oath unto us, our fears did cease concerning him. And it came to pass, that we took the plates of brass and the servant of Laban, Zoram, and departed into the wilderness, and journeyed unto